I've been in the sector for 45 years. Whenever the only thing I always believed was that if your project has to be secure and on a long-term basis, your investment has to be secure, your tariff has to be low. That's the biggest security in this country. So when I was talking about tariffs, is that unless the tariffs are low, unless the tariffs are acceptable to the current commercial viability of the sector, which is a big issue, distribution sector. Even today, with all whatever we have done reducing the losses, your gap between the average revenue realization versus average cost of supply. So it is still negative. Okay? So that each unit we sell, we still lose 30 to 40 paisa. Therefore, if the wind industry has to grow, it has to keep cost per kilowatt hour down. Then the demand increases. In fact, people ask me saying that now there is so much of demand. So do you think your returns profitability will go up? It never go up. Even if there is a single player in this country, the view is that price cannot go up because what is controlled is the tariff at the end of the day. Your tariffs, there is a limitation to which the distribution companies will buy. That will determine your revenue, that will determine your prices, what you can afford for a turbine. That is the reason why it becomes important on the R&D factor of it is that when the high wind sites gets exhausted.
I think your second question.
The capacity, you're right. I mean, I already said that it's a tough ask to do what we did in the last 20 years in the next 5-6 years. 6 years, if you look, we're talking about 8 gigawatt addition per year to reach up to 100. And your next question was what will happen in the next 2 years. We see on an average 5 to 6 gigawatt in the next 2 years, this year and next. So,
an inflection point today in the renewable energy sector for the following reasons. While we all know that we want to add 500 gigawatts by 2030, it's well reported. Everybody knows that, including a school student, that's what we want to do. More important is that for us in India, if you want to add capacity, it is also equally important for the tariff. What should be the tariff? If the tariff is not remunerative, capacity addition won't happen, even if there could be demand. So therefore, when you look at the study done by CEA for demand in 2030, or they plotted for entire 8760 hours in a year, looked at all, combined it together, and they came up with saying that the installed capacity need is about 770 gigawatts, moving away from currently about close to about 450 gigawatts. That's only one part of it. But then most important part of that study is that how do we meet this demand through the least cost option? That's the most important thing for the country. That's why they came up and said that if you want to meet this in the least cost option, 100 gigawatts should be wind out of this 500 gigawatt, and then about 300 gigawatt should be the solar. So therefore, there is a demand, and point number 2 is that this demand is being met through the least cost option, that is wind. So wind needs to go, let's say currently we're at about 47 gigawatts, need to move to 100 gigawatts in the next 6 years, that's including this year. Obviously, the pace at which we need to do this is much more than what we are doing today. After having done 5.5 gigawatts in FY17, we somehow got stuck between 1.5 to 3.2 gigawatts in the last 5-6 years. Almost 7 years. In fact, highest after that being the last year at 3.2 gigawatts. This has to increase. So therefore, there is a challenge for the wind in terms of increasing the execution capabilities. And the second also is that currently if you see, all projects are mixed projects. They are not like a pure wind or pure solar technology mix, which is nothing but a fossil fuel. Fossil fuel meets the demand every 15-minute cycle. So you have those 96 slots in a day, and then meets that. Fossil fuel today, the tariffs, coal-based, other than pure big head power stations. But significant factor is that not just matching the tariff, but renewable advantage is that what you are seeing today is what you pay for the next 25 years. There is no element of fuel there, so therefore fuel cost variation, those things are not there. So we reached that level of replacing fossil fuel. In fact, one of the interviews I said it was more of a slip of a tongue.
Proven over the period of time. Wind used to be very big before solar came in, and then there were ups and downs. But you cannot balance the grid without wind. It's a global situation. It's not only in India. You need wind, you need solar, you need batteries. All are complementing each other. First about the conference, I think this is the 6th edition of Windergy. That's the reason we are here to talk about it. This will attract, last year was 7,000 visitors. This year we are looking at approximately 10 or more. And that's definitely a big growth in the 6th ecosystem in India. It's not only about making and selling turbines anymore. I will say that outside Europe, or say outside largely Europe, India is one of the largest R&D center for wind turbines, technologies. In fact, some of the people working here are working on turbine which will never be sold in India. It's the intellectual power of this country which is being used in this sector by all the global players, including us, including Suzlon, everybody. We are researching here, we are developing new technologies, whether it is in new turbines, whether it is in artificial intelligence use in wind, or whether it is in SCADA systems. So that is something which will create the intellectual capital of the country and also creating jobs in India. Second thing is manufacturing. It's not only about manufacturing wind turbines, it's manufacturing the components. If you look at the bill of material of a nacelle, there are 3,600 articles in that, the line items, from the nut bolts to the generator to gearbox. And you'll be very happy to hear, and I can put it down in writing to all of you, we make 100% in India. We can. Everything can be made in India if you want to source in India. And made in India for me is no more a story, is no more a chumla as some of the people talk about. It is a reality, at least in the wind industry, that I can say. That we can make 100% in India the wind turbines, the larger wind turbines. So I talked
of the event. The two-day conference on 23rd and 24th October has 9 sessions covering pertinent issues in the wind energy sector. The 3-day exhibition will feature over 300 exhibitors across 10,000 square meters, showcasing cutting-edge technologies and solutions from OEMs to advanced components and offshore engineering. We will also have international pavilions from Denmark, Spain, the UK, and other global participants, making this a truly international event. Now let me introduce the speakers for today. We are privileged to have industry leaders, Mr. J.P. Jalsani, Group CEO of Suzlon Energy and IWTMA Executive Committee member, and Mr. Amit Kansal, CEO and Managing Director of Senvion Wind Technology, also an IWTMA Executive Committee member with us today. We warmly welcome you, sirs. I now invite Mr. J.P. Jalsani.
Windergy show in Chennai, which is from 23rd to 25th October. It's a great opportunity for the wind power users, wind power developers, wind power generators, and all the technology developers around this area to come together. We are expecting 7,000 to 10,000 delegates, and you will have an opportunity to sample the technologies and which are available globally and in India, and what is being developed for the future of harnessing the wind energy. Thank you.
How would you like to showcase India as a market to the global investors which will be coming to participate in the event? You said a lot of opportunities there. There is a straight 50 gigawatt opportunity in India.
Yeah, so India is a big market for wind turbines itself domestically, but India is also a very, very big opportunity for our global investors for manufacturing in India for the world, for developing technologies in India for the world, and also for sub-component supplier. It's not only the wind OEMs, but it's also the components which goes into a wind turbines. For those component suppliers, it is a great opportunity to make in India for the world.